Hey Archery Talk, it's time for the 2026 ArcheryTalk Hunting Bow Shootout. I've been shooting 7 different bows for the past several months, throwing thousands of arrows downrange in order to put this shootout together for you guys. I hope you'll all enjoy it. I've got, again, as I mentioned, 7 different bows. Here they are in the order I received them. I have the Obsession UltraMag 360, the Mathews ARC 34, APA Black Mamba Pro 6, Prime Divide 33, Darton TriTech 33, PSE Sicario, and Elite Varos. There are some big brands missing here. Just know that I reached out to as many as I could. Some chose not to participate. I absolutely understand, and hopefully they'll be back on board next year and we can make this thing even bigger and better. I should also say that as much testing as I've done, do yourself a favor and head to your local archery shop. You know, a lot of my findings are going to be subjective. So, you know, if the bows that maybe fit me the best might not fit you the best, go shoot as many as you can before spending your money on your new hunting bow. And speaking of archery shops, I want to give a big shout out to Canada Archery Online. They have let me shoot almost every video I've done this year in their shop with no charge to me whatsoever. It has been a massive help. And so if you're in the Toronto area and you're looking for a great archery shop, go visit Canada Archery Online. The first category up for discussion is draw cycle, and just a little while ago I posted a draw cycle video where I shot all of the bows back to back to kind of pick my favorite. And this year the winner for me was going to be the Prime Divide 33. It just edged out the Darton TriTech 33. Both of these bows absolutely stunned me with how nice the draw cycle was, especially compared to how good the speed was. Usually I get a bow with a super buttery smooth draw cycle and the speed suffers, but both of these bows came very close to hitting their advertised speeds, so super impressed all around. Excellent efforts both from Prime and Darton this year on draw cycle. Next up is going to be speed, and this year I tested all of the bows set up at 30 inches of draw length and 70 pounds of draw weight, and I used a 350 grain arrow. And with all that being said, the fastest bow is going to be the PSE Sicario. This bow shot a blistering 352 feet per second for me. That is the fastest bow I have ever seen run through my chronograph. Absolutely thrilled. It does not feel like a bow that's going that fast, so kudos to PSE. A big shout out also to APA. The Black Mamba Pro 6 shot 348 feet per second. That would have been the fastest bow I'd shot ever until I shot the Sicario. So both of those bows blistering fast. The Mathews ARC 34 finished third at 339, and the Prime Divide and the Darton TriTech each finished at 337. Speed's kind of 2 categories, and I also judge it on how bows do compared to their advertised speeds. And this year I had a tie at the top between this Darton TriTech 33 and the Prime Divide 33. Both finished just 2 feet per second below their advertised speeds. That is absolutely remarkable considering that I've got a peep and a D-loop on every bow I'm shooting. So the fact that they basically hit their number on the button is fantastic. The Mathews ARC 34 was just 4 feet per second off of its speed, and the PSE Sicario was only 5 feet per second off of its speed. Up next, we've got stability and accuracy, and realistically, this might be the most important category. You know, if you can't shoot the bow accurately, you don't probably want to hunt with it all that much. And for this year, I kind of have a tie at the top between the Elite Varos and the Mathews ARC 34. For whatever reason, both of these bows just fit me perfectly. Both held on target really well. The Elite Varos I shot without a stabilizer, and it shot fantastic groups for me. The Mathews ARC 34, I played with and without the stabilizer. They sent me a 12-inch stabilizer with it, and with this setup, the bow was, again, an absolute nail driver at whatever distance I shot it from. So, again, every bow I shot is more accurate than I am. I'm not a professional shooter. I'm a good bit from that, but as far as the bows which shot and felt best to me, that's going to be the Varos and the Mathews ARC 34. Absolutely incredible all around, but again, keep in mind, I would take any of these bows into the woods with me any day of the week. They're both going to shoot a deer without any problem, and your findings might actually be different than my findings. So that's why I would suggest shoot as many bows as you can and figure out which bow feels the best and is the most accurate bow for you. The next category up is going to be noise and vibration, and I actually put together a separate video on this where I shot each bow and tested it with a decibel meter I picked up off of Amazon. And I'll be honest here, the findings I got from the decibel meter were a little bit different than my personal findings. I would have thought that the Mathews ARC 34 was probably going to be the quietest. It was definitely the least amount of vibration I felt in my hand than all the other bows. But according to the decibel meter, the Darton TriTech 33 came in first with a reading of 71.3 decibels. That was just ahead of the Prime Divide 33 at 71.8, and the Mathews ARC 34 was third at 72 even. So again, I don't know exactly if I've got everything set up right. I'm not an expert when it comes to sound and harmonics and all that kind of thing. So take that with a grain of salt, but those are the findings I found with my decibel meter. My next category is going to be grip, and this is a fairly important one, at least for me. The grip really is the only thing connecting you to your bow when you're shooting it, and so it's pretty important that it fits in your hand right and sits comfortably for you. I say this knowing that everyone's going to be a little bit different. Hand sizes are different, hand shapes are different, so different grips might fit you a little better than the other. I will say that the vast majority of the grips I shot this year were pretty comfortable. If I had to pick a winner, I'm probably going to go with the PSE Sicario. It's probably the simplest grip of the bunch. You're shooting right off the riser. I like the shape of it. It's flat. It's it's kind of medium narrow. It just fits in my hand really nicely. It makes this a whole really nice shooting experience. But on a different day, you can convince me that the Elite Varos or the Darton TriTech had just as good of a grip. Again, we're really splitting hairs here, and your mileage is going to vary quite a bit when it comes to grip. The next category is going to be tunability, and in my mind, this is the category that has seen the most evolution and improvement over the last 5 or 6 years in the archery industry. A lot of brands have started making it much easier for the consumer to tune their bow without having to use a bow press, without having to go to a bow shop and spend money and time doing it that way. And there's lots of great tuning systems from almost all the bows I've got on here that let you do it in different ways. If I had to pick a winner, I'm probably going to go with the Darton TriTech 33. This is an absolutely easy, simple bow to tune. They've got kind of 3 different ways you can make easy adjustments on this without a bow press. They've got the perfect tune system, which helps you put pressure on the limbs to kind of change the way the arrow flight's going to go left to right. You can do that on the top and the bottom. That's really great. They've got their perfect timing system, which lets you change the length of your cables by tightening or loosening them to get your cams timed up perfectly. That's a fantastic system. And now they've got an adjustable cable guard here to kind of give you the vein clearance you need, and also maybe tweak a little bit of left to right paper tear. It's a great system, but again, you can tell me that the Elite Varos with their set technology, and they've got a similar timing system as the Darton does. That's a great system. APA has been doing innovative stuff with bow tuning for many years. So the Black Mamba Pro 6 has got fantastic tuning technology. The Mathews ARC 34 has got a great system now. There's just so much out there for archers to make changes and fine-tune their bows by themselves. It's a category I'm delighted to see get better year after year. Fit and finish is our next category, and to be honest, this one is 100% subjective. What looks great to me might not look as great to you, and vice versa. And I had a pretty hard time choosing a winner here. These are some great looking bows. These are flagship bows, so they're all built to look great, and they are. And I think if I had to pick a favorite, it's either going to be the Mathews ARC 34 with this gorgeous grizzly brown color, or the PSE Sicario, which just looks, I don't know, pretty sexy in this carbon riser. It's a really, really nice looking setup. I can't complain about either of these bows. I do like with Mathews that you can order your own string colors or cable colors, so I've got mine with the orange cables to really kind of pop off against that brown. But there's different ways to kind of fine tune these bows for your liking from the factory. You can make changes with different paint options and different limb colors and the whole nine. But regardless, these are the 2 favorites for me in the fit and finish category this year. The 8th and final category for the 2026 ArcheryTalk Hunting Bow Shootout is going to be price and value. And this one is actually a little bit more tricky to figure out than I think I initially thought. Just because the bows are made of different materials, from aluminum to magnite to carbon fiber. They've got different technologies built into them. That all affects the price in some way. But with all that being said, I think the winner here is probably going to be somewhere between the Elite Varos and the Darton TriTech 33. These were the 2 least expensive bows here. The Elite coming in at $1,300 and the Darton at $1,350. But they also don't lack when it comes to technology. Both have as good of tuning technology as any bow in the industry, quite frankly. You can adjust all the changes you need to without a bow press with either of these bows. That's super handy. And they also shoot fantastic and they feel great. But maybe you want a bow that weighs a little bit less, that doesn't cost a lot more. In that case, the Obsession UltraMag 360 is, I think, for $1,500, and it's about a pound lighter than these bows. Or if you want the best of the best and you want carbon fiber that maybe feels warm in your hand all year round, go with the PSE Sicario. That's going to cost you a lot more, closer to the $2,000 range. But you get what I'm saying here. There's different options for different budgets and different needs. But I think all that said, the Elite and the Darton kind of really hit the nail for me for value this year. Now comes the difficult part in actually picking a winner. And there was a lot to like with the bows I shot this year. I've been shooting them for months, thousands of arrows, the whole nine. I've had a really good time shooting these bows, and so picking a winner is difficult for me. But I think if you looked at how all the categories have played out, you might have noticed a trend, and that is that the Darton TriTech 33 seems to be at or near the top of almost every category this year. And for that reason, I'm going to name it my 2026 ArcheryTalk Hunting Bow of the Year. This bow really is the complete package. It's fantastic tuning technology. It is a lights out shooter. It is pretty darn fast. Again, 337 feet per second, almost hit its advertised speed mark on the button. I don't know what else you can ask for out of a bow. This bow is doing a lot for me this year. The Prime Divide 33, if it had the same kind of tuning technology, I would probably have had a hard time picking a winner. Those were the two bows I probably shot the most this year. They had my favorite draw cycles, but the edge has got to go with the bow that I can make all the tuning adjustments on. But, you know, this really is, we're nitpicking here. Every bow here can do something different and could maybe serve a different archer in a different way. If you just want lights out speed, the PSE Sicario or the APA Black Mamba Pro 6 are lightning fast, 352 and 348 feet per second respectively. Crazy. If you want ultra lightweight, again, the PSE Sicario or the Obsession UltraMag or the Prime Divide, all super lightweight. If you want a bow but maybe shoots the best for you, again, I would maybe lean towards that Mathews ARC 34 or the Elite Varos. There really is something for everybody from every one of these bows, and so I encourage all of you to go out to your local dealers and shoot as many as you can, talk to your dealer, use their range, and just see which bow fits the best for you. ArcheryTalk, thank you so much for watching all of the videos this year. It's been an absolute pleasure bringing them to you. Please do like, share, and subscribe. It helps the channel an awful lot, and we'll see you again soon.